Have you getting anxiety and you don't know how to face it? This topic and more on our Immigrants magazine program. Diego Saul Reyna was our guest on our previous episode. Here, some clips.
The moment I decided to put a flag on the Trump Tower, it was like the end of several months of thinking. I never worked at the tower. I know several friends from all races and all ethnic groups and all religions that work at that place. I will tell Mr. Trump, I respect your right to be a candidate for the US presidency, and I respect your right to address issues like drugs, crime, and illegal immigration, but putting blame in one specific ethnic country for those issues is not a good start. I am going to continue peaceful, symbolic protests against Mr. Trump. If we have a Trump administration, it would be a diplomatic challenge for the United States of America. He says, I'll put Americans first. Well, put a sign outside a farm saying, pick up onions for minimum wage and see how many Americans line up.
Now in this interview, second part, we talk about immigrants, politics, and I asked him if he agrees when Donald Trump says that Mexico has to pay for the wall. Take a look.
I think that he's a very intelligent man and he knows what he's talking about and he's trying to enchant his crowd. We, as candidates, we would say anything to be elected. And putting blame on something and promise something is a really good way to gain sympathy from a crowd. Now, from his point of view, Mexican workers send 127 billion US dollars into Mexico every year. So 127 billion in average, right? So if you tax that at 1%, you have 127 million a year. So I can see why his supporters believe it's possible that Mexico could pay for the wall. But by current laws and by current logistical challenges, it's impossible to build a wall around the entire border. It's just not possible. He would have to change the constitution, build roads to bring materials to bring those walls. If you're in the middle of the desert in California, how do you get concrete and rebar there? You need to build a road. Now, the US, out of all the developed countries, is the one with the most deficient infrastructure. So I think your citizens would like to fix that infrastructure first before you build roads that lead to nowhere just to feed materials for a wall that's not keeping anybody out. There's tunnels. Also, all these people that come illegally, if there was a way to come legally, they would do it. If you're a Mexican person, a Mexican poor person, and you seek to come to the US legally, those means don't exist. An interview at the US Embassy costs you $150, which is non-refundable. That's what a person makes in a year, right? So that rules out those that have to come to work, right? Like those that come to the US to work for minimum wage, they're immediately ruled out. I wouldn't call it revenge, I would call it help. He's been criticized a lot, and I think he could use some help. And I need his help too. The assumption and the suggestion that as Hispanics, only some of us are good people will affect us for generations to come. A stereotype is very hard to kill. So I need his help, rephrasing the statement that he made. If he does that, I will distribute it. I'll use the full strength of my voice to circulate it and say he's taken back his words and here's the correction. I wouldn't call it revenge, I would call it mutual cooperation. My father is a very great man and is one of the persons I admire the most. The same with my mother. My mom worked 2 jobs, came home and cooked, and left for her second job, and will come home and wash clothes by hand on a river. Right? My dad will work at a mine for 16 hours and come home and massage my mom's feet. So then you have a person that inherited $200 million and tells me that they're criminals, that they're not the best. And not just my parents, but every citizen of the third world countries I've been to have the highest human quality that I've seen. We were poor, but I was very happy. I had wonderful parents that were a wonderful example of everything. We lacked a lot of things materially, but emotionally and role model wise, I had all my needs were fulfilled, and that's what it's helped me throughout my life. Um, I was involved in sports and arts, and it's not my first time on the public eye. I competed on tournaments and made it nationally. So I represented my state on national championships. So it's not my first time that I'm on the public eye. Also doing arts. I went to the capital of Mexico, representing my state on arts. So I've always been involved on things, and fortunately, the messages I've been wanting to send have always been accepted. And when I came to Canada, I decided to just be normal. Like I'll just live a normal life. I'll be an average citizen. And I did for as long as I could. I've spent most of my adulthood in Canada right now. When I came, I had a very strong sense of identity and patriotism. And that, of course, doesn't mean that I don't love Canada. Canada gave me all the opportunities that I never had. And I will always be thankful for that. And it's giving me a safe, prosperous environment for my family. Something I could have never given them back at home. And that is such a sweet, bitter feeling as an immigrant, because I left my language, my family, my culture, my food, and everyone I ever loved, and I left them. And the reason why I came to Canada is because I thought, if I am going to leave all these things behind, I'm going to do it for the best. And Canada was the best. So as an immigrant, we have this love for the country that has given us everything. But we have the love for the country that made us who we are. Being a drywaller is very physically depleting. It's very hard on your body. That was the first trade I learned. After that, I wanted to jump into a structural steel framing, which is mostly a white-dominated industry. It's hard to get into it, and all steel framers I know are white born in Canada. You need several thousands of dollars on tools to get started, and you need to know how to read prints, blueprints. And I think that's the biggest challenge. That's the main reason why foreigners find it hard to get in, because a little bit of a language barrier will keep you from joining it. So it was very hard to learn, but I had lots of help. And Canadians are the nicest people there is. They will teach you everything. They know. My wife is probably 7 generations born in Canada from Danish background. So my son is the first on my entire family to be born outside of Mexico. I'm the youngest out of 3 brothers. Both of them are single, and they don't want to have any kids. So my parents have just that one grandson. His name is Jalisco, which is Nahuatl, is the language of the Aztecs, and it means ocean in the Aztec language. And I wanted an Aztec name because the names we have are from Spain, which is an European country, which, without judging our Spanish friends, they gave us 500 years of slavery, and they depleted our population. So not to fall into controversy, but I'm very proud of the Aztec roots, so I wanted to go back to that. Yes, freedom of speech is one of our constitutional rights as Canadians. Criticism and freedom of press are also crucial. So anything could be a protest. If you're on social media and you disagree with something, you are welcome to comment. Nothing will happen. Critics are fundamental on freedom of speech, and freedom of speech is a base of any democracy. As a permanent resident, you enjoy the same rights as a citizen. The only difference is your passport. But you have the same rights, and those rights include freedom of speech. So never be afraid of use it and exercise it. I would like to encourage those who wish to protest to do it peacefully and creatively, non-destructively, because then it's not a protest, it's a crime. And we are here to abide to the law and prosper. I would like to invite my fellow immigrants to develop your full potential. All the opportunities are here. I recently spoke to a friend who just graduated from University SFU, and he has a degree in economics. And I realized that I know as much as he does out of borrowing books at the library. It's free, and the knowledge is there, and it's for free. It's walking distance from my house. And if you look at the maps of libraries, they all have internet, and any citizen in Vancouver has one library close to home. And all the knowledge that has ever been available to humankind is there. You can learn anything you want, and knowledge is power.
Everyone gets anxious or nervous from time to time while speaking in public, while facing a problem. But some people are getting anxiety so frequent that it begins to take their lives over. Anxiety is our topic on our mental health segment. Next.
La ansiedad hay que tomar en cuenta que no es parte de un síntoma que forma parte de una enfermedad psicológica, un trastorno psicológico. Eso es muy importante. Una vez que determinamos que es simplemente ansiedad pasajera o que la persona es ansiosa por su carácter, bueno, pues ya estamos del otro lado. Es importante mencionar que no solamente la ansiedad se trata con ansiolíticos. Últimamente las personas o las personas que nos dedicamos al sector salud, especialmente los médicos y los psiquiatras, tienden a recetar ansiolíticos para calmar a las personas. Pero hay otros métodos que antes de recurrir a esto, sobre todo si no es una ansiedad que invada y que paralice, porque muchas veces eso es lo que sucede también con la ansiedad. Digamos que les voy a dar algunos tips como para saber cómo manejar su propia ansiedad. Primero que nada, hay que reconocer que uno está ansioso, porque en muchas ocasiones nuestra esposa, nuestro esposo nos dice, pero es que lo que pasa es que estás muy ansiosa y si no te calmas, pues esto no va a funcionar. Y nosotros nos enojamos, no, pero ¿cómo? Yo no estoy ansiosa, lo que pasa es que... Y empezamos con la discusión. Y eso es parte de nuestra ansiedad. Entonces, el primer paso es reconocer que estamos ansiosos. Una vez que reconocemos que estamos ansiosos, podemos empezar a pensar objetivamente porque empezamos a calmarnos, a decir, bueno, pero ¿por qué estoy ansioso? El segundo punto es básicamente el poder ver que las personas que tienen esta ansiedad suelen realizar un sinnúmero de actividades durante el día a la vez, pero no termina ninguna, lo cual les provoca más ansiedad. Las personas ansiosas suelen tener una característica, se preocupan porque están preocupadas. Por lo tanto, esto es un absurdo y también les genera más ansiedad. Entonces, lo que hay que hacer es, primero que nada, determinar por dónde empezar, cuántas actividades vamos a llevar a cabo durante el día, si vamos a ser capaces de realizar todas estas actividades o vamos a dejarlas para otro día. A veces lo que sucede también es que las personas suelen estar ansiosas no por el hecho de tener un sinnúmero de actividades, sino por el hecho de que no las han realizado y están siempre como que con el pendiente de es que no he hecho esto, es que no he hecho lo otro, no he ido al banco, no he pagado la luz, no he recogido a los niños, no he llevado la ropa a la tintorería, en fin, y están con este pendiente todo el tiempo, y eso es lo que los mantiene ansiosos. Sin embargo, para evitar estas situaciones, lo mejor es priorizar, es decir, determinar qué actividades vamos a desarrollar día con día y agendar. Ahora, lo importante es ver si hay alguna actividad que nos va a llevar solamente 2 minutos, como cambiarnos la ropa o recoger los zapatos o quizás poner los trastos sobre lavatrastos. Vaya, lo haremos en ese momento, pero si es una actividad que requiere de mayor concentración y de más tiempo, quizás entonces habrá que agendarla y ponerle una fecha o un horario, ¿sí? Porque de esta manera, si no nos organizamos, la ansiedad nos invade y de todas maneras no somos personas efectivas. En nuestra cultura occidental es muy importante el siempre estar realizando alguna actividad, porque si no hacemos nada se nos tacha de perezosos. Y pues esto genera el hecho de que constantemente estemos en una actividad, la que ésta sea. Puede ser trabajar en casa o trabajar en nuestros trabajos, valga la redundancia, o el estar haciendo algo con los amigos, pero siempre, siempre haciendo algo. No es posible que estemos simplemente sentados, descansando, relajados, pensando qué hacer el día de mañana o qué iremos a hacer el fin de semana o quizás programar las vacaciones o simplemente durmiendo. Y eso no quiere decir que somos perezosos, simplemente nos estamos tomando un momento para nosotros mismos. Algo que nos ayudaría muchísimo es realizar una actividad diariamente que nos guste. Si nos gusta escuchar música, bueno, pues tomarnos al menos una hora para escuchar la música que nos gusta. Si nos gusta ir a jugar fútbol, bueno, pues tomarnos el tiempo para ir a desarrollar esta actividad, o si nos gusta pintar, o si nos gusta salir a caminar. Es importante siempre programarse diariamente para desarrollar esta actividad. ¿Por qué? Porque también esto nos beneficia, ¿sí? De alguna manera estamos tratando de relajarnos, de desactivarnos y desconectarnos de las actividades diarias que siempre realizamos, ya sean en el trabajo o en la casa o con los niños, pero no nos damos un momento para nosotros, no lo consideramos importante. Sin embargo, es importante y no por ello somos ni perezosos ni egoístas. Otra manera de desactivar la ansiedad es el tomar ventaja o el ver las cosas desde otra perspectiva frente a los problemas que nos provocan esta ansiedad.
People dance for all kinds of reasons: to heal, to give thanks, to celebrate, to preserve cultural heritage. Kasandra La China is a flamenco dancer. She is known as one of the finest bailadoras in Vancouver because of her dynamic and precise style. Kasandra La China, flamenco, in our miscellaneous segment next.
Yes, I grew up in Vancouver, and I'm Chinese-Canadian, born in Vancouver. In fact, my grandfather was born in Victoria. And I discovered flamenco after doing 20 years of classical violin. So I grew up as a typical Chinese kid playing violin, Suzuki violin, all through the system. And started playing the violin, and my violin teacher, actually Gwen Thompson, had introduced me to flamenco dance because she did some classes with my maestro, Oscar Nieto, and she said, you should dance flamenco. And so I did, and I never looked back. And so is my profession. I think when I was actually 23 years old. So I came into flamenco later in life, but I had studied classical musicianship since I was 4. So I had 20 years classical violin at a high level. Yeah. I was the National Youth Orchestra concert master when I was 16 years old. I have played with the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra as a student of the Vancouver Academy of Music. So I had a long life as a musician, 20 years before I found flamenco. And so once I found flamenco, now it's taken a whole other 20 years to dominate, or not even dominate. Well, flamenco is a cuadro, so we always have 4, at least 4. The guitarist, the singer, the palmas or the percussion, and then also the dancer. And so it is an interconnection actually between the 4, not just dance and guitar. The guitarist is very important because this person is responsible for the compás, the soniquete, the groove of the music, and actually he or she, this is the one that's accompanying the singer and also the dancer. So I would say the guitar is extremely important in the flamenco dance, but he actually becomes the accompanist. When the singer is singing, The singer is actually the most important one. The dancer's accompanying the cante. And the same thing for the guitarist. And when the singing is over, the dancer takes over, does some footwork, then the guitarist is accompanying the dancer. What really attracted me to flamenco was there was a certain liberty and freedom in artistic expression. Your emotions were pure and unadulterated, and you were able to express within your ability. And for this, I'm really attracted to flamenco because it allows your own personality to come through and your own personal expression. That being said, it is extremely technical. We spend years and years honing flamenco dance technique, footwork, body movement, and there are so many song forms in flamenco to study, all different time signatures, so one must be actually a very, very good musician to dance flamenco. We can dance a long time in flamenco. I've been to Festival de Jerez, I've been to the Bienal de Sevilla, and I have seen 60-year-old women, standing ovation, everybody so incredulous that this woman can dance in bata de cola, for instance. But age, for the female, especially in flamenco, 40s prime. Yeah, for me, I have a really idealistic mission, and right now I'm looking for a very chemical combination of the artists that I work with. We had talked about the fact that flamenco is a cuadro, so it's at least 4 people, including guitar, singer, percussion or palmas, and then the dancer, but it's actually a group. It functions like a jazz unit. So I'm romantically looking for my ideal partners in this because we all draw inspiration from one another. And flamenco in its highest form is improvisational. It's not choreography where everybody's just accompanying the dancer. It's actually the singer's responding to me and I'm responding to the singer and the guitarist is responding to everything around them. So we draw inspiration from each other, but the meaning of the cante, the expression of the song form that we're trying to express. So in flamenco, we have everything from cante hondo, which is deep, profound, sorrowful song, which is really from the heart and expresses sadness, sorrow, and pain, all the way to cante chico, which is light, happy fiesta pieces, and then it runs the whole gamut. And so depending on what's being sung, it really affects how the dance is expressed as well. I have the luxury of having a studio in my house, so I wake up in the morning, take the kids to school, come home, and I'm in the studio a lot. 2, 4, 6 hours a day. Well, in flamenco, we're also romantically looking for something called duende, where everything is interconnected in a moment. It's actually easier. The older you become, the easier it is to dance flamenco because it requires your presence to be in the moment, in the exact time with your musicians and all of the people around you. And in flamenco, we seek this interconnectivity between all of the musicians and the dancer. Before you're a mother, you have all the time in the world to do anything you want. And then as soon as you have responsibilities at home, you have less time for yourself. And so I found after I had my kids, it was this moment that I'm looking for in flamenco. It's easy now to go onto stage and say, okay, I have this moment only for me. All I have to do is be present in this time, in this moment. And I thought that, it was such a great life lesson to learn because as a young person, you spend so much time in the studio practicing, trying to make things perfect. But it's only after life experiences that you realize, to be in the moment, you first have to have no time. And when you have no time, then you value time. And so when I step on stage now, I know this 5 minutes is just for me, and it's that much more meaningful.
Before closing this episode, I have some advices to you if you have some anxieties at this moment. Try to get an adequate sleep. Don't abuse of exciting drinks. Do exercises. Practice some hobbies and be part of support groups. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Now, if you miss any episode, go to our webpage and click on episodes. I am Fabiola Palomino, your host.
Problemas de relaciones interpersonales, separación, divorcio, problemas con niños, adolescentes y adultos.
Soy la doctora Yolanda Montoya, soy Clinical Counselor y mi teléfono es el 604-861-1071.
And so it becomes a part of the cuadro, so there's 4, always guitar, cante, palmas, or percussion, and then the dance is just one component of it. But we're always dancing in compás. We're responding to the cante is the most important, so it functions a lot like jazz. So in this group, when the singer is singing, and the singer is singing a letra, the dancer is actually following the singer or accompanying the singer. The guitar also is accompanying the singer.
Facebook, a su cuenta de Facebook de ella. Y en 3 minutos tuvo 50 comparticiones. Pero ella no puso ningún mensaje, simplemente subió la fotografía. Entonces ya es muy tarde, ya fue que la subí desde mi cuenta con el mensaje que quería mandarle.